Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to another build stream. Oh yeah. Um yeah, so some things to cover today. First of all, yesterday, 6 hour stream. That was exhausting. I don't know if I'm gonna do that again, but I at least know, hey, maybe I should plan to break up my stream just a little bit, or break up a build just a little bit. It's fine if I don't get it all done in one shot, but the whole like my reasoning behind just keeping on trucking with it yesterday was I was like, okay, I'm not that far away. I'm not that far away. Of course, I was farther away than I thought, but I'm not that far away, and I feel like I've been doing a lot of like, oh hey, I'm gonna build this thing, and it's like, oh great, I've got like two things left. I'm gonna do those off stream, and that's it. It's just like cliffhanger. There's no follow up ever, nothing like that. I fix it off stream, and then that's it, or finish it off stream, whatever. I didn't want to do that, which I ended up doing anyways. But I at least did finish it. I just had like one little thing I had to fix with the LEDs, which I did fix. It's fixed now. Which reminds me, I need to get pictures of it up on the interwebs. But yeah, I didn't want to do that again. So I trucked through and whatever. But for larger builds, I might do like, okay, well, for the first half of it, I'm gonna build the keyboard, and then the second half, I'm gonna like work on something else so that I can like fill time, but not necessarily like have to feel like I complete. Like I'd rather do half of it than do 7/8 of it in one stream. I'd rather, yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm playing around with this. This is all an evolution in stuff, and then maybe also I get to revisit a couple things or like fix stuff or add a little more stuff in besides just straight up I'm building a kit. Like I'm working, maybe I spend an hour working on designing a new board, or I spend half an hour working on a 3D printed case or something. I don't know. Just throwing ideas out that might be in the future. So that should be fun. But today, it is definitely mostly a build day. Especially from after yesterday, I'm beat. This will take me like an hour and a half, maybe. Is my guess. Don't hold me to that, but it'll take maybe an hour and a half. And I won't be so exhausted when I'm done. And then I can go enjoy the rest of my day. I did enjoy the rest of my day yesterday. I did enjoy all of yesterday, but damn, I was tired afterward. So, anyways, one little thing left from yesterday. I did find the thing with those caps that said wrong, correct, and it did want me to clip it from the side. But when I did that yesterday, it left too much shmoo on the end here, and that made it hard to get into the switch, or maybe even impossible. I didn't try very hard. Flush cutters from underneath seem to be better height-wise for like the length of the switch legs, or the cap stems, the little legs. But maybe it's not going to fit quite as well. I don't know. I haven't typed on it for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours yet, so I don't know the longevity of it. But I would say if they added just a touch more length on there, and maybe just the tiniest of like a nub in there on the side to make it so it'll fit a little more snugly in the switch, then instruct people to use their flush cutters instead of what looks like on the picture to be wire cutters, which are actually a V-shaped, so they're not flush. Then maybe it would work better. I don't know. I could be totally wrong and I screwed them up. But also, like, this is definitely the wrong way to do it. I think maybe they were just like, they don't want you cutting it flush against the cap. Because that wouldn't work very well. Then you wouldn't have anything. I don't know. But I just wanted to say I did find that little printout. It was in one of my many boxes from MK Ultra that I had laying around with leftovers of orders and stuff like that, which I've now consolidated into one place. Now it's more of a mess, but at least it's all in one place. So that's cool. And I found another clicky purple or clicky perp that I had. So yeah. Anyways, for today's build, doing a Reviung41 MX. This may look very familiar because it is in fact the same keyboard that I've already built before. On stream, I believe. Might have been one of my first streams. Main differences between the build I've done previously and this build. One, this build, the new build, is not going to have a case. I'm going to try a caseless. Since it's hot swap, all that stuff, I can add a plate, I can add a case, I can do whatever I want without having to, like it's easy to add a case, add things later if I want to. So I'm going to try it without a case. And second, and most importantly, I'm using a nice nano controller. And the reason I'm using a nice nano controller is because I really love this keyboard. I really, 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 really love this keyboard. The spacing is nice. It's kind of, a little bit chunky, and I like it. And then I have Boba U4 switches on this right now. And they're amazing switches. Like I had Holy Pandas on there before. It sounded great, except a little louder than I would like. So I finally got my Boba U4s in, and they're just wonderful. So I'm like, okay, I like those switches. I'm going to stick with them. And you might be thinking, well, why do you have to build a whole new board to change the controller, right? Don't you socket your controllers? I tend not to, actually. This is not socketed. It's hard to see because it's not autofocus, but this is not a socketed controller. So in order to replace the controller on this, I would have to do a whole lot of work to pull that Pro Micro off. And really, I'd rather just build another board. So I'm building another board. Now, one thing about this, unlike the Reviung41 LP that I have built, this doesn't have the nice things that one has for wireless or for battery powered operation, where there's like pads for the battery, there's pads for a switch, like a power switch, all that stuff. So I'm going to have to hack that together myself, which reminds me I need to get one of my switches out for this. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do that because on the Corn, what I've done in the past, or what I did on my wireless Corn, is I used the TRRS connector holes and all that stuff to kind of wire everything through, put it under, stuff the battery under the controller, all was good. That, you can't do that here. There aren't holes in for TRS. So I'm going to have to look around a little bit and figure out what. And now that I look at it, I wonder if I can't use this hole here, because I don't think that's for anything. No, it is. That's for the OLED, or the controller cover. That's this hole here. But it may be okay for me to just use that because one, it's a caseless build, and two, I don't really need the controller cover. I mean, I don't know. But we'll see. This is why we experiment, why we do things. I might also, looks like there's nothing in that. Oh no, there's a trace on this side. I was gonna say, it looks like there's nothing in the neighborhood for this, so I might just drill holes. I've never done that before, but who knows, but it doesn't look like I can do it, so we'll see. I may just hard solder it on and YOLO, I don't know. But we're gonna go with this. So this one thing this has that I'm not going to do is also is this has support for 10 underglow LEDs on the back and one on the front. Now, I really want to do the one on the front because I tell you, my favorite thing about the visual of this board is when that light is red, or like maybe a slow pulsing red. Because with the plate case, I can't see the underglow LEDs. They're, you know, it doesn't reflect, it doesn't whatever, but that red is really cool looking. It doesn't work on a naked board because the grill makes it so you kind of see the glow. Otherwise, you're looking directly at a red LED, which isn't super pleasant. But I kind of want to put it on there anyways. One downside to that is that's the last LED on the chain. So in order to do that, uh, I'd have to run a bodge wire either from the output from the controller to this pad, or more likely to the output of LED 10, or chain it all the way through. Or I'd have to do a little bodging to get that to work. I almost wish this was LED 1, but there may be a good like schematic electronic reason um why it's the last one in the chain. So um yeah, I'm not this since that's also something I can add later very easily because I could just pull off the switches around here. I'm not going to bother with that today. Also, while this has a 2U thumb, the caps that I have, assuming they're similar to this because they're both from the same place, and they're both, yeah, assuming they're both from the same or both the same thing. There's no stabilizer things on the cap, so I'm not going to run a stabilizer. But also, I didn't feel like I needed it on this when I was using this, so I'm not going to have a stabilizer on there. So, anywho, that is that, and I think I'm going to get started. As usual, I'm going to start with the diodes. And since this is a board source board, we've got the little round diodes. And let's get going. Hello, Jerry. Had to think for a minute what your name was or how to pronounce it because we talked about it yesterday, but I couldn't remember. Oh, I guess I need to turn my fan on so I don't have Pepe fumes going. Since this build only has 82 surface mount pads and they're all just straight diodes, this will go pretty quick. This is not going to be a 6-hour marathon stream like yesterday. Which is good, because that was, whew. Oh, and I forgot to bring it down, but the Aho Kore build for tomorrow is 100% on. I have the board in my possession. Or I have a box that says it has it in it. I haven't opened it because I was planning on opening it on stream. Because why not? I also got my, I got like a dactyl-ish board from some place in Europe. I don't remember. It's basically a 3D printed case, but I don't remember if it has PCBs or anything like that. Might just be the case. I don't remember. But that showed up today too. So I'm gonna figure out what I need for that and build that. That'll be my first non-flat board. It's very corn-like in its layout and its thumb cluster and stuff like that. So I think it should be pretty comfy. It's just kind of curved, you know. All right, tools. And I should have changed my shirt before I came down here. It was really chilly when I woke up this morning, so when I left the house, I put on a long sleeve shirt, and now it is no longer as chilly, and it's also, I'm standing in front of bright lights and over a heat source, so it's starting to get warm. Ooh, it's supposed to be a high of 90 today. Damn. I mean, I'd rather that than 113, but I'd rather it just stay in the 70s too. Okay, one thing I noticed yesterday is when I was putting these on, they were up a little bit. And I think it's because I was trying to center it visually, but I'm standing at an angle to it. So I was centering it in the wrong place. Okay. Oh yeah, I remember someone doing that. I little hesitant to do that. I know the outside the shell of the USB-C port, I think it's supposed to be ground, so it should be fine, but that just feels sketchy to me. I will say that if this ends up being my like long-term travel board, what I will likely do is make a modified PCB because it's an open source board. So modify the PCB to add a power switch and battery pads because I am that particular about those things. And I could probably sell the rest of them pretty easily, or like convince a vendor to, you know, do a small batch group run or group buy or something like that. But not one of those group buys that's like, oh, buy it and then your shit will show up a year later. Maybe it's like, no, 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 no. I'm I'm just ordering a handful of these for myself, or I'm ordering one for myself, but I can only get them in batches of 5, so or as small as a batch of 5. I don't know. Or I could just do like Kaz did and go to all PCB and get 5 free ones. I mean, it's fine that it's hacky. You know, we're building mechanical keyboards from by hand, but you know, One thing I am a little concerned about with these is I feel like these glass round LED or diodes are a little more fragile than the I don't remember the little black ones. And since this is caseless, like although for an actual real, this is the one I'm taking into the field with me board, I could solve that issue with Plastidip. Oh, I missed an entire column here. Tinning pads. I didn't miss that one, but there's not much on there, so add a little more. Okay. Whoops. Hmm. Oh, come on. There. Yeah, these are definitely better for that. It can be very difficult to see the little line. There is another nice thing about them is that since they're round, you don't need to flip them over all the time. You just throw them on there. Oh, missed one. Hey, I grabbed the perfect number of diodes off of this reel. Very nice. Okay. I'm gonna fix a couple of these. So they're just all cockeyed. Oh, that's good enough. Okay. Yeah, it's going to be a quick build for sure. Just quick run on the other side. All right, it's all the diodes. Let me clean up just a sec. And what did I do with my sockets? It's a big reel of them. It's hard to miss. Take a sip of water while I'm waiting. I was looking for them to be long, not taped still. So I didn't. I just kept looking right past them. Hotspot sockets. And I don't have to worry about the rotational orientation of them today. I mean, I do. Because if you put it in like this, you can't get your switch in. Like, that's just wrong. You can't. That doesn't work. But it's like evident from the socket. I don't have to try to look at the very small text written on the side of the little components. Yes. Well, it's a new tip. Not the not not this one. That one's getting retired. But I put this tip on yesterday. All right, did I miss any? Nope. Okay. Sorry, I got a phone call. Hang on. Hello? Okay, and they just hung up or something. Probably a scammer of some sort. Okay. No, not a 6 hour stream. I've probably got 30 minutes left. Hello, Lorenzo and Leah. Nice to see you both. Yeah, all I really have to do is I've got 9 more sockets to finish the side of and then put the controller on and... Well, put the controller on and the battery and the switches and the caps, but you know, not much left. I don't think I'll be doing another 6 hour stream for a while. that was a long day. It was fun. It's a good experience. But I found an upper bound, I think. Okay. Now the decision, what am I doing with the battery? And do I want a power switch? So I've got these little power switches, which really are better suited for the TRRS, I think. Yeah, I mean, battery under the controller for sure, but especially since this is caseless, good point, because the battery is thicker than the sockets. I think I'm just going to do this without a power switch. It kind of pains me to do that, but I don't know if I have much choice. I can always add one later, so I'll just leave the leads a little longer. God, I hate these batteries. I really wish I could get the 301 230s with JST connectors on them, or some sort of connector, because these are really hard wires to strip. Like even just trying to use like a pair of tweezers, you rip half of the connector or the the wires, break them because it's stranded like 30 gauge wire, it's super tiny. And then you try to solder it and the whole thing melts. It's just a pain in the ass. Okay, well, I am going to get the controller on first. And you know what? because this is up in the air a little bit, I'm going to socket this. Yeah, I don't know where the power switch will go. That's what I was trying to figure out. I mean, I could do it like this and just like hot glue it to the board. But I don't really actually have that much space there because of the caps. So that might be hard to do. Oh, no. My bad. The cap only comes down so far. There's plenty of room. I'm not going to do it right now. I've got tons of these batteries. I'll just cut it off, throw it away, get another one. Because I got tired of paying like $6 a piece for them, so I bought a bunch of them on AliExpress. I think I have 10 of them. But socketing the controller will give me flexibility. And, I mean, this is the only nice nano I have that's not socketed, or that's not hard soldered onto a board. Who knows when I'll be able to get more of them. I should probably socket it just for the sake of, like, well, if I ever want to use a nice nano on something else. Yeah. Can you message me on Discord so that I don't forget? Because I have to dig it out of my email and stuff. Yeah, socketing is a good practice for sure. I think you might not have been here yesterday when I was talking about it, but it's like, for the most part, the boards that I'm building are not even really going to get used that much. Or they're going to get used for a while and then something else is going to replace them. So I don't worry too much about, like, oh, I might break the Pro Micro USB port off, because it's like, I use a magnetic thing and I use it for 2 months and get rid of it, and like, or 2 weeks and get rid of it, or not get rid of it, but do something else. So I'm not too concerned about it. Okay, raw ground reset. Um, and it's just quicker and easier. And I really don't like using diode legs. I just think it's fugly. Like, it's just. I really wish there was a better pin solution. I know that Split KB, among other vendors, has pins, but at least in this case, those pins aren't long enough because I needed the nice nano to sit up a little higher. Because there's a battery under it. I don't know. I wish there was a thing I could solder to the controller, and then another thing I would solder to the board, and then it'd snap nicely together, and not be like, am I about to break this to pull it apart, or any of the other problems I have with diode legs and socketed controllers. And I'm sure this exists. It's just not. It just hasn't like. It's not a common thing in the keyboard world, and I think a lot of people are just like, they don't want to spend that kind of money, which makes sense. But I'm not averse to spending money on good stuff, or on better stuff. Yeah, I for a while was buying Pro Micros on Amazon every time I'd place an order. Like anytime I bought stuff on Amazon, I'd be like, okay, and find cheap, 5 packs of nice nanos, or nice nanos of Pro Micros. So I have a box of them basically because they were like $4 a piece, and it's just like, great. Now I have tons of them. I use diode legs. Well, yeah, I mean, but I don't think you need to go to $20. I think there are cheaper ones. You just got to know what to find, and I just haven't found it. Uh, Lorenzo. Yeah, the Lorenzo. I have those same legs. I don't think they're that much better than diode legs, to be honest. And they're in this particular case, they're not long enough. Because the nice nano with a battery underneath it stands up pretty high. I also don't know why I'm doing this way in terms of like fishing individual diode legs out of the box of diode legs when I can fish a bunch of them out. It's a little bit easier. What pictures are you talking about? I'm on the Absalom server, but I'm not really sure what channels I should, quote, should be watching. So I don't. It's a little too busy for me to watch everything, but I'm not really sure what people are doing stuff that's interesting to me. Yeah, that would be ideal. Excuse me. Safety glasses. Time for switches. So, like I said earlier, I am using Boba U4 silent tactile switches. They are probably my favorite switches right now. Uh, they feel really nice. They're quiet. They've got zero pre-travel. They're really nice, tactile, just beautiful, wonderful, gorgeous switches. I really enjoy them. And I didn't realize it, but I got two different weights of Boba U4s. I found this out earlier as I was trying to combine my orders. You know, I've got like 5 different orders of uh, chalk robins laying around, so I was combining those and stuff. And I went to grab my. I knew I had at least 2 orders of Boba U4s because I got some from Split KB, and then I bought some from MK Ultra as well. And yeah, I've got 62s and 68s, and I don't think there's any visual way of telling which is which, and I probably can't tell the difference, like, direct side by side. But probably if I had 2 different ones on the same board, it would drive me nuts. So I'm not going to, and I've got a little there's some schmoo around the edges here. I'm gonna grab a quick paper towel and wipe that off. No, I think they're pretty reasonable. Um, that's one of the crazy things about Gazoo's switches is they're pretty reasonable priced and excellent quality. I have boba gums as well, and I really, really like those. They're a silent linear. I don't have any of the U4Ts, which are the Thaki variants of the bobas. Um, but unless they're better somehow than like Drops Holy Pandas or the Glorious Pandas or something like that, I don't see any reason why I would need to buy them because I have plenty of both of those and they're fairly cheap as well, or at least the Glorious Pandas. They are. That's what I originally had on my my other Reviung, and I was just like, I love this keyboard so much because those switches feel really good, but I wanted quieter switches. So I put the Boba U4s in, and I'm just like, I still love this keyboard, but now it's that much more because it's also quiet. I mean, I built plenty of chalk keyboards with hot swap without a plate. So I'm kind of hoping that I don't need a plate for this, but this is an experiment. If I end up wanting a plate, I can always add one. These are PCB mounted switches, so that helps with stability. If they weren't, I would do plate. If they were plate mount switches, but I don't like plate mount switches for a lot of reasons. The main reason is I don't know why you would do that, because it's like, I mean, if I want to turn these into plate mount for whatever reason, I can just clip the little nibs off. I mean, sure, it's a little bit of extra material, but is it really that much extra material? Like, are they really saving that much money? I mean, I guess on a scale of millions, you could save a couple of bucks, but I don't know. There's probably a valid, perfectly good reason that plate mount switches are a thing. I don't know what that reason is. And I would prefer not. Oh yeah, I mean, I totally get that this may be bad because they're wobbly, they don't sit, they're not necessarily going to stay as tight into the thing, but I can always add a plate later. Which I might end up doing. I will probably end up doing, in fact. I'll go out and say that. Alright, so I don't even remember what this is. Customized PBT DSA Profile Full Set FC. They are from Um, KBD fans, I believe. Oh, okay. Nice. Those are my caps. And we got some fun little novelties. Sweets. Aha! I know what I'm going to use for my enter key. Oh, but see, this one has stabs. Although that might be a 2.5 or 2.25 or something. I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't need it. Yeah, the boba gums. Yes. Those were my first experience with linears, really. Um, and fantastic, fantastic switches. I had those in my MX Corn build when I first made it, and I immediately switched away from my Kyria with soldered Holy Pandas, or soldered Glorious Pandas, rather, and went to that board because of those switches. They were that good. I was just like, ooh, these are really awesome. Okay, let me see if I can do this without making too much mess. Yeah, I mean, this one has stabs. Oh, I guess it is bigger. Whoops, and I spoiled the fun. No. Trying to find something I can stick in here to get the caps out. I don't want to scratch up the finish. But I don't want to just dump the whole thing out either. Arg. Oddly enough, zip tie pushes them right out. The other great thing about the boba gums is they are very, very, very pink. Which some people don't like, but those people are wrong, and it's fine. Because, you know, sometimes it's okay to be wrong. There's a 39 key variant of this called the Reviung41, which just has 2 less thumb keys. QWERTY up. But I don't think there's one smaller. But now that I'm using a... Well, okay. So if you want a 34 key variant of the Reviung, well, I guess I was going to say I would use like the Zaphod or the Ahokore or something like that, but those are both both chalk boards, and also you missed the boat on the GB already for the Ahokore. Yeah. I am thinking about, like, if I end up going like, no, I've got to have the MX. They're very pink. Hey, Jason. Glad to have you here, friend. G H J K L. What do I have there? Minus. I really like these caps. I think I'm gonna have to make a macro pad with some of these. There's a lot of really good caps in this kit. Trying to figure out what I want to put on each of these spots now. It's possible. One thing, Locker, you won't be able to do if you do that is the case goes out to that outer column. So that might be kind of difficult, but you know, it's worth a shot, I guess. But also, this is an open source board, so you could download the files, modify it, and get your own printed. Okay. Still haven't really decided, but I think I'm gonna go with Tab gets a red mushroom. Backspace gets Pac-Man because it's chomping letters. Oh, there's no... Okay. I was looking for the Metroid, but there isn't Metroid because that'd be good for space. This is the hardest part of this build now. No, I think these are DSA, or at least that's what it says on the box, and they look DSA-ish. So I'm gonna go with their DSA. Escape gets cherry. Yeah, I'm just gonna randomly throw stuff on now, I think. Mario in the corner up here. Oh, you can't see the... Okay, sorry. See, I think of Mushroom, though, as Mario Kart. Like, you go fast. So tab, Mushroom makes more sense to me. Ah, but shift. Good point. We've got shifty eyes. Pac-Man Ghost for shift. There we go. One hour, 51 minutes. I need to put some bump-ons on. I don't think these are tall enough. So I need to find my tall bump-ons. Which I will do later. But yeah, here we go. Keyboard. I need to do the firmware and all that stuff. So I'm actually going to do that later. And I'll figure out the battery situation. And yeah. But I can already tell I'm going to want a plate because I just had this all crooked and weird. But I'm going to try it without a plate for a little while. Just to kind of see. Yeah, I like these caps a lot. These are from KBD fans, I believe. I don't know what set they are, but if you just search for like KBD Mario or KBD 8-bit or something, you probably find them. And yeah, it's a fun build. I like the Reviung a lot. It's just the right size, I think, for my hands. And then I get to have the nicer switches. And let me just compare it height-wise to a couple of others. So this is a naked or a caseless MX build. This is a caseless Chalk Mini corn, and this is a caseless Chalk V2 corn. I don't have a caseless Chalk V1 down here right now, so I'm not going to compare it, but we'll see. Yeah, keep choosing novelties for another 4 hours. So obviously the Chalk Mini is much lower. I don't like the Chalk Mini switches. These ones, maybe it's a bad batch or maybe I need to lube them or something, but they bind, especially on this key here. If you get it off center at all, it just doesn't work. So they're really, really hard to push. So I don't like those. So I haven't been using this. I really, really like the Chalk V2 switches. Not as much as the Bobas, but they're smaller. They're lower profile for sure. And there is a Chalk V2 version of the Reviung being designed. So once that comes out, I will be building another one. I already have the switches. Just need to get the board, and it'll be here. So what I've got all this stuff out for, though, is to look at the thickness or the height of the boards. So we've got that compared to, that's kind of hard to tell because it's hard to get the right angle there. But you can tell that the Chalk V2 with this is XDA caps, and these are MBKs. Chalk V2 is significantly taller. I said corn, didn't I? Sorry if I didn't. Pretty sure I said corn. That's what I meant to say. And then the MX are that much taller even. So if we look at Chalk Mini versus MX, it's pretty significant. So that's something for me to consider. For those of you who don't know, a lot of what I'm doing when I'm building these lately is looking for boards that I will put into my giant orange backpack, and carry around the world with me for 5 years. So small, light, portable, ideally wireless, or will be wireless. Like whatever I end up with will be wireless for sure. And so like all of these I kind of like consider quote candidate boards. This one sadly a failure unless I want to go through and like mod the switches and stuff, but I don't think they're good enough switches that I want to bother with it. I think I'd rather use Chalk V2s or Chalk V1s instead of Chalk Minis. I'm fine with a larger board because it's not so much necessarily heavier than the like weight is more important than bulk, but I don't want it to be too bulky either, so I don't know. But meanwhile, I also get to have fun building boards and playing with things. I didn't think I would like the Reviung when I first got it, or when I first was looking, because it kept coming up as like, oh, Reviung's great, you should get one of those. And I was like, whatever. And then I used it and I'm like, this is fantastic. Because I thought, no, I surely can't have that few thumb keys. And anyways, so that's my my new nice nanoed Reviung41 MX build, caseless. And that's gonna be it for today. Short stream. Yesterday was really long. Tomorrow's gonna be a short stream too. It's gonna be later in the day, but it's gonna be extra fun because it's the Aho Kore. It's a really cool build from a 13 or 14-year-old kid in Australia who is just slaying it with everything. Like everything about the group buy was fantastic. He was super communicative, like way on top of things. I want to keep an eye on him because he's going places. He's gonna do cool stuff. His name is Desley, and yeah. Well, I don't know how I'm gonna travel the caseless keyboard in my big backpack. In my daily driver backpack, I just have it in one of the pockets inside. In the big backpack, what I'm probably gonna have is some sort of sleeve for it. Because the main concern I have is snagging the switches and caps and breaking them. So if I can just keep a sleeve so it doesn't get snagged on stuff, I'm absolutely not worried about breaking it. Like this will take a lot of force before it breaks. So if it gets bent a little bit in the thing, it's gonna flex right back. And if I really felt like it, like in this case, I could put a switch plate on here, and that would give it that much more structural rigidity, and I'd be even less concerned about breaking the board. And this would, if I did an MX build, it would probably have a switch plate anyways, just because of the switch stability stuff, right? So it would probably have a plate anyways. As far as the for the bottom, I would probably end up like plasti dipping or doing a foam. Get a neoprene like mouse pad basically, cut it up and stick it on, glue it on, just to protect the bottom. But yeah, pretty much just a some sort of lightweight sleeve to put it in, so it doesn't snag on things. I'm not worried about breaking it. And then I'd have a couple of extra switches and caps with me just in case I do actually break uh, a switch or a cap. Like that's easy to replace on the trail, and they don't weigh very much. So um, I have a feeling that some form of Chalk V2 board is what's going to end up in my pack because these feel really nice. These are the browns. Um, they aren't as good, obviously, as the Bobas, but they're pretty damn nice. They're way nicer than the Chalk V1 browns. It's lower profile. These are soldered on, and I mean, I can solder on these too if I felt like it, and I would. I would actually just like it for a hot swap board. I just solder in the sockets to keep the switches on. Um, but I feel like this was probably some form of Chalk V2 is going to be in my future because I don't know if I'm a huge fan of the chalk spacing. It feels a little too cramped. I get better caps with these, and I don't like until we get proper good uh, chalk or low profile um, uh, tactiles. Like I'm using clickies, and I really don't want to use clickies because they're too loud. But I want the tactility, so I can't use the linears. So just figuring that out. Although the Gazoo did just come out with new low profile MX switches, I am skeptical that they're going to be that much lower profile than MX because they're apparently from the plate down the same thing. And like if you look at the kind of holy grail of low profile, like from the plate down is almost the entirety of this keyboard. So, like, you could shave a millimeter or two off the top there, but I don't know. So we will see, though. I'm looking forward to building more boards and finding out what I like and what I don't like, and then at some point before I leave, which will be about a year from now, putting the finishing touches on the board I'm taking with me and putting the rest of them into storage. So, meanwhile, I'm looking forward to building more fun boards and just having a good time typing and stuff. So, anyways, that's it for today. Thank you all for stopping by. It's good stuff. I'm going to go relax and have an afternoon. See you all later. Maybe some of you tomorrow. What are the differences actuation distance between like the mini and the MX, or what switches, or the like the between what which switches? Okay, I'll